to the Dignity Dialogue with your host, Joe Kiedinger.
Hi, everyone. Joe Kiedinger, another Dignity Dialogue. And I am excited to introduce a guest today, Jamie Budiac. And Jamie is with SureDry. He's the general manager of a SureDry basement systems. And so, Jamie, tell me a little bit about, before we get into our subject today, tell us a little bit about the number of employees, a little bit about the environment you work in, and what you do.
Yeah, so we 30 years. April 4th was our 30th anniversary, and so we have 90 employees out of 2 locations. Our headquarters is in Menasha, Wisconsin, and then Wausau is our secondary location. Usually we have around 20 sales people, 7 service techs that go out and service our systems after they're installed, and then we have 12 production crews.
Okay. And what does SureDry do?
Yep, so we've got kind of 5 key categories that we work in. Basement waterproofing, so leaking basements, we fix those. Crawl spaces, we'll encapsulate them. Or if you've got like sagging floors, we can come in with supplemental beams and posts and raise those up. We have foundation repair, so walls that are pushing in from our dynamic soils that we have here in Wisconsin. We can put some product on the walls that'll stop that from continuing to move in. And then also along foundation repair, we can do piering, which is if homes are sinking into the ground, we can put piles into the ground to lift them back up to level.
Amazing.
Yep. And then we do concrete lifting. So we drill small holes in the concrete and have a foam that gets injected underneath there and expands, kind of like Great Stuff, but on steroids.
Okay.
And then we can be very precise with those lifts. And then the final thing we do is egress windows.
Okay. So can we say that your environment is can we get dirty at times?
Very much. Yeah, very much a blue-collar industry.
Physical?
Very much. Yeah, when we repair, do our water control, guys are taking jackhammers and busting out concrete and carrying it out in 5-gallon buckets. So nothing sexy about it. It's gritty blue-collar work.
Okay, so the reason I'm excited to have Jamie here is because we met at a local event where you're helping your local chamber create a leadership program, right? You supported it. You brought maybe people there of your team, and that's where we met. I happened to be speaking at it. I was introduced to Jamie, and there was a story, which you'll get to, that really encapsulated. We don't know each other, but when I heard this story, I'm like, we are kindred spirits, and I've got to get him on this, on our podcast. Now, here's what I hear a lot, Jamie. You don't understand, Joe. I work with blue-collar mechanics who get angry and who do this and who do that. You don't get it, Joe. I work in the construction industry and the blah, blah, blah. You don't get it, Joe. I work with a bunch of engineers who feel blah, 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 blah,
yeah.
Right? And, okay, so hold that thought. The other thought that I had when thinking about you as our guest is you can't track culture. You just can't track culture. It can't be tracked. And we say that is incorrect. You absolutely can track it. And so now I'm going to toss off Jamie, and here's the deal. When Jamie took over, and I know he's a big culture guy, from one story he told me, so I'm just going to give you credit that extrapolates from day one. And because of your growth, I see it. $5.5 million 7 years ago. You worked there for 15 years, but 7 years ago, you became the general manager. And at the end of this year, you'll grow to just under 17 million. So 5.5 to 17. I don't know what type of metric y'all need, all right, to say culture stuff doesn't work. So Jamie, share with me how you brought the culture up. And I'm sure it wasn't terrible, but you definitely made it better, because that kind of growth is in this type of industry. People want to stick around, it sounds like, and work for you.
Yeah. We've got we've got managers that have been with us for 10 years, 12 years. And so culture and fostering that is a daily grind. Like it's not like a one and done and boom, you got it. You've constantly got to keep working on that. And so, the statement, people don't know or don't care what you know until they know how much you care. That is 100% true. And so we invest a lot into growth and development with our employees. We have them all on growth and development plans. Try to figure out what is it that they want in life and their career. Again, blue collar stuff, so nothing is real sexy about this, but these people love doing what they do. We focus everything around customer first, like what is best for our customer, and then what is best for the company, and then what's best for us as individuals. That's how we kind of look through the lens of how we do things. For our employees, we invest a lot into them. And it's not like, oh, hey, we just have a bunch of parties and make it just a real fun environment, though it is fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than that when it comes to them seeing us want to invest in them and make them better and make them leaders if that's what they choose that they want to be.
Yeah. So when you say invest in them, and we believe in better the person and you better their role, no matter what the role is, you can better the person and better the role. Tell me about some of the better the person things you've done.
Yeah. Our management team, we do a lot of book reading. The female employees in our office, they have book club once a month, and so it ends up. Sometimes it's usually every other month it's in the building. Otherwise, it's off-site, and they go and really just try to connect and build relationships amongst departments too, because we call it business machine, so we've got different gears in our machine, and the females are all in different parts of that business machine.
Okay.
So getting them all together to get a personal relationship is important, as well as just understanding what everybody else does so that they can help in whatever way they can.
Sure.
We all of our production guys, we look at them and say, okay, how can we get you to become a foreman over time? And what does that look like if that, again, is something they want to be? Some don't. Some are content being, in whatever role it is, and they're happy being that. So we support them in that respect as well. I think the big thing, though, is just treating people right. Like,
yeah.
It's my son works for my wife's company, and he talks about, like, God, some people are just not very nice. It's like, and I said, Brendan, it's just as easy to be nice as it is to be an a-hole.
Right. Totally.
Can I
you
say,
can just do you.
Yeah. So
we all know what an a-hole is.
Yeah.
You can do you.
So, and I said, you will get so much more from people when you're just nice to them, and especially in the industry that they're in. He's like, a lot of these people aren't nice, and I'm like, so when you are nice, people in that industry will help you so much more.
Yeah. I just got off the phone. I was telling you about just a random little coaching session where a client said, hey, this person's struggling with someone. Can you just talk to him for an hour? I'm like, sure, no problem. And what I prescribed was getting out of you and getting more aware and interested in the person you want to connect with, right? So instead of how they make you feel, could you possibly step outside that and consider for a moment on how you're making them feel? See, we work I don't know if you've experienced this, but it seems like we treat people however they treated us yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? You get treated how I'll treat you how you treated me yesterday. Mm-hmm. And we typically stay in that mode, and usually one person's unaware, they're just doing them, and they're not aware they're even ticking this person off, right? And so nothing can change because you have the unaware person, you have the person who's aware they're being, it doesn't feel good, and no one's willing to communicate or knows how to, right? And so the conversation is basically get out of yourself and just serve. Like find out, maybe seek some information, not affirmation, on how you can serve this person better or how you can work with them better. It's amazing how people respond if you can take the back seat, right, and just go, how can I help? How can I serve? And it sounds like, and I know you do that a lot. Tell about the story that triggered me to ask you to come on our show. I think it's a fun story.
You're talking about the Christmas contest?
Yeah, the Christmas thing.
Yeah, so the chamber that you were talking about, part of my discussion in that was I kind of presented on three things. One was the 6 types of working genius. The second was growth strategy and like how we build our plan for the year. And then the third thing was culture and how you can, weave culture into your company and grow it, and then what that can do. And so the last part of my the culture discussion, we had one of my controller reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got this idea about doing a decorating contest." So for many years we were part of the Appleton Christmas parade.
Okay.
And we would build floats, and when we would build a float, we would
Build a float.
Yeah, I mean, we won the Benny Perlman Award, which is the best float in the eyes of a child, 5 years in a row.
Oh, that's
and
neat.
Then we said, all right, we're gonna take a break and let somebody else win.
Yeah.
So we stopped doing it, and people have now said, hey, we should bring that back, and we may. But like we would build like the Bumble from the Island of Misfits toys. We built this like 12-foot big white abominable snowman.
Yeah.
We had Rudolph and Clarice and all.
Like redoing the scene.
Yeah. So I mean, there was multiple years of different themes that we would follow this. So we had all these Christmas decorations and things like that. And then when we have a company Christmas party typically every year in December, and so we always had all these decorations. And a year ago, our production staff and logistics, which is the back end of our business, they kind of decorated their office and then or their whole area, and then our accounting team, they decided they wanted to do it, and so then this year they're like, we should do this as a competition, and so we gave them all a budget. So first we brought all these decorations out, and we had them do like a draft as far as
what they get.
Yeah, so like it was like a snake draft, so back and forth, and they got to pick all of these things, and we said, what you take, you have to use in your decorating, and two, you're going to get a budget that you're going to spend that budget, and that's going to tell me how wisely did you spend the budget. Like you can take that, and you guys can go out and have dinner together. You can have lunch. You can have go out and have beers, whatever. But how you use that money is going to be part of the grading and rating. So when I was doing this presentation for the Leadership Academy, the end of that, we then said, all right, all the attendees, you guys are going to get to see firsthand SureDry's culture. And so we went around to each department. So there's 4 departments that did this, and looked at them, and then they got to all be part of it. So our customer care department, they did Candyland. Their theme was Candyland, and it was really cool on what they did. And then the next one was our accounting department, and they did Frosty the Snowman, and they had some extra people in the company dress up and stuff like that. Our sales department at SureDry, we have it's called the Saloon, and it's like the face of an old saloon made out of pallets, and it's really pretty cool looking. Well, inside there, they decorated that like Cleo's, the bar downtown Appleton.
For those you don't know, Cleo's has every decoration in the sun in the bar. So you'll find St. Patty's Day, Easter, Christmas, Hanukkah. You'll see it. They've got the decorations, and they never take them down.
Yep. It's pretty much Christmas, 365 days a year there. So the saloon, they decorated like Cleo's, and they had dirty snowballs, which is a drink, and old fashions, which Cleo's known for. And then the fourth department was our production and service department, which is upstairs, and they decorated it like a ski lodge. So super cool. All the attendees got to go around. I dressed up like the Grinch, which my employees didn't know I was doing that, but did a quick little change in the bathroom, came out as Grinch, and walked around. It was just an absolute blast.
Yeah.
And afterwards, one of the attendees kind of questioned how do you do this, and how do you spend these kind of dollars? Does that reflect in your prices that you have to charge customers? And it was really interesting to see how defensive my employees got. That are would you rather have people that love coming to work and doing this, that they're going to come and work on your house? Or would you have somebody that is hates what they're doing and are coming to work on your house.
Right.
And I just thought it was so awesome to watch it. I didn't even have to say anything about it because all my employees kind of defended it. And so, yeah, I think investing in your culture, I think you can't afford not to invest in your culture.
Yeah.
And, I don't know that there's we do have it as a line item in our P&L on, employee benefits and employee events are like in there, and we make sure we budget for doing that for our employees.
Yeah.
Twice a year, January and July, so we have quarterly meetings. In our January and our July quarterly meeting, we take and shut the company down for a day and do something with all 90 employees. Wausau, we bust them in, and then we've done various things from a scavenger hunt up at the Hall of Fame, Packer Hall of Fame, and then went across the street to the Turn and had all the simulators rented out and did lunch and stuff over there. We've done a kickball tournament right across the street from us. We were across from a park, and that is still today, everybody says that's their favorite one that they've done. We've done a bike build where we built 16 bikes and gave them to Boys and Girls Club. We're actually going to be doing something July 12th that I don't know when this is going to air, but our employees don't know it. But we're partnering with Sleep in Heavenly Peace, which I don't know if you've heard of that organization, but we're building 40 beds for kids that are sleeping on the floor. Which it's crazy because you wouldn't think that, but it's a huge need. And so we're doing that here, and other companies that do what we do throughout the country are doing it, and I think they're looking at about 700 beds are going to get built in that one day.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. And so how do these beds get to the kids? Just curious.
Yeah, so Sleep in Heavenly Peace I think they said they have like 260 families that are needing beds. And like these kids are sleeping on the floor, they're sleeping on the couches, and so when we do this, like it'll come with the bed frame, the mattress, the sheets, the pillows, the comforter, all that stuff.
Okay.
So
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is so cool. And so you're incorporating teaching, obviously, charity as well.
Yeah, I mean we do a lot of philanthropic stuff, a lot, and we want our employees engaged in that. And if they've got things that they support, we want to know about it, and we want to help them do that. Execute on it.
So, what percentage of this growth from 5.5 to 16.9? Maybe how much credit of that growth would you put towards the operational excellence that you guys obviously have versus the cultural excellence you have? Like how would you rate that?
Yeah, it's interesting. It is hard to quantify it, but when I look at longevity, I think with longevity comes efficiencies. And when I look at the longevity of our employees, I mean, I don't know if I could put a percentage on it, but if I had to put a percentage, I would say probably 20-25% is because of culture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, so what is it? Do you see turnover in the folks who are in the basements, like actually, jacking things up and moving things in? So, I often hear, there's an office environment, Joe, and then there's out in the field. That's hard work out there, right? Mm-hmm. Do you see, not everyone usually has perfect attendance or so forth, but what's that turnover like within that field?
Yeah.
Is that different?
No, I mean, all of our foremen have been with us for 4+ years. Some 8 or 9 years. Some even probably longer than that now that I think about it. So now helpers, some of them do come and go because, as much as we explain what this job is like.
Sure.
And even in the interview process, we take them out for a day so they can actually truly see what it's like.
Okay.
Some of those guys, after, a couple of weeks of it's like, yeah, this isn't for me.
Yeah, sure.
Like in any industry. But I don't know what our turnover rate is. If I had to guess, it's probably maybe 16 or 17%.
Okay. Which I think is super low.
Which is, I think so too. I mean, I think what did they say, like 20 or 25% is kind of like the industry average, maybe. But we try to spread that culture down to them as well. So, one of our one of our Hispanic foremen, he loves to break out our Blackstone and do fajitas. And
Okay.
so usually like 2 or 3 times in the summertime, on a Friday, we'll schedule the crews to be back by like 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And he'll break out the Blackstone and make us fajitas and tacos. Our IT guy is a former chef. And so he'll do like smash burgers, or he'll do breakfast for the production crews every now and again. So, I mean, those crews are out, in the field, but we'll have sales guys that'll go out and they'll go look at one of their jobs that they sold and that they're installing, and they'll bring them Gatorades, or they'll, stop at Quick Trip and bring them some breakfast sandwiches or things like that.
Yeah.
Same with our production managers. When they go out in the crews, they'll go out in the field to visit the crews. They'll usually bring them something.
So when you care, they care.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when you care, then your leaders care. When their leaders care, then their supervisors care, for example, and it goes out from there.
Yeah. I mean, the fish stinks from the head down is what they say. So if you've got a bad culture, it's probably because of the leader. If you got a good culture, it's probably because of the leader. 'Cause if you invest in it, they're going to end up following you on it.
So you say you actually have a budget for culture, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And in that budget, you use that to invest in some learning programs, perhaps. Sounds like just human events, to bring people together, to have a little bit of fun together. So you're celebrating just the joy of fun.
Yeah.
And then do you have any, and then you have some of these, like sounds like they're more maybe random, but the fajita maker stuff, right? That you allow some flexibility and some spontaneity as well.
Yeah. We've done in the past, we call it Derby de Mayo. So Cinco de Mayo and Kentucky Derby, and we kind of mash those two together. And so we'll have the office will dress up in derby clothes, and we'll end up making some type of a Mexican fiesta or feast for everybody. So I mean, do potlucks, stuff like that. Yeah.
So also a message I want to share. A lot of our viewers know about Dignify, right, in our system. And we did Jamie's Dignify snapshot. And I like to see, when I hear certain stories, this is like an Alka-Seltzer tablet. Drop it in that clear water and see it go tss, and see it hiss and all this kind of stuff. You heard some great stories. You heard about Cinco de Mayo. You heard about Cinco de Derby.
Derby de Mayo.
Derby de Mayo. You've heard about taking a day off once a year, right?
Twice a year. January and July usually.
Having a scavenger hunt. You gave all these fun examples, okay? This is where authentic leadership, I think, is a great segue to get into authentic leadership. Jamie's top 5 dignity traits, okay, in no particular order, are life of the party, fun, great sense of humor, tons of confidence, and born leader. So these first, and now that was reverse order, actually. So born leader, tons of confidence. So that means you've got a lot of grit in you, meaning that you're willing to do what's unpopular to prove that fun can actually grow profits as well.
Yeah. I've got a controller that is very conservative, and so she kind of balances that out. Because I love to pour into that stuff, and so she balances that out. But she's also very much on board with us doing these things. So like when we do these offsites twice a year, nobody knows what we're doing except for her and I, because we plan it. Because one of the things I realize, or I think, is when you know what's coming, you will start making judgments and preconceived notions on this, or you'll be like, that's not going to be fun or whatever. So when you don't know, everything's a surprise and everything's new and everything's cool. So we keep everything on the down low. This bed build, though, I've got my whole management team knows about it.
A little more logistics in that one.
A little bit more logistics in that one, yeah. Yep.
You know what we call that in our family is mystery trips.
Yeah.
So my wife and I, if we ever told our children where we were going, they go, "Oh, that's gonna be boring. This is gonna be this," But as soon as it was a mystery trip, then you just don't know.
Yep.
Right. That's part of the mystery. So again, now in your career, Jamie. I mean, look even beyond this job. I know you've been there obviously a good chunk. But have you received pushback in general for being so fun and spontaneous? Because folks sometimes like to have a rigid outlook on things. You have a balance of both.
Yeah, we do. Our bottom line reflects that what we're doing is right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
So
that's the metric.
Yeah.
That's the metric.
Yeah. So it's hard for anyone to, look to deny that part of it.
That's right.
The amount we have grown and the amount we have been able to become profitable, because it wasn't always that way. And so when you talk about grit, like there were many lean years of sure dry back in the day. And so, it's only been the last 5-6 years where we've truly become a profitable company, which when you are, then you can reinvest that into your employees. So
the last 5 to 6 years, so it took you a year or two to pull them out, or to help guide the ship to pull it out.
Yep. Yeah.
So culture does work.
For sure. Yeah.
Maybe you'd even mark that up higher than 25%. When you really reflect on that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So if I were to look at like the bottom line growth, it's probably way over 25% as far as what culture has done to grow that bottom line.
Yeah.
The top line number is, still based on other parts of the business, but
Sure.
I would definitely say that bottom line has been very much boosted because of culture.
And it's also boosted because you were authentically you. And I think a lot of leaders are afraid to be authentically them. They're afraid to I better go status quo. This is how it's been. Now I'm the GM. You put me in charge of this. I better keep this status quo. But what you did is you were authentically you. You added these whimsical, sometimes, elements. You've added also just self-improvement elements. You added a humanistic approach that perhaps the company at least didn't have at that level. Is that fair? At least at that level.
Yeah, I would say that's for sure fair. Many years, and still today, I mean, I still look at it's people before profits. Mm-hmm. If you invest in the people and you take care of them, they will walk through walls for you, and the profits will come from it. And that's definitely been a part of ours. And
to me, that's a metric. That's psychology, right? Yep. Any psychologist will tell you, you're good to me, I'm good to you.
Yeah.
Right? You make me feel, and I loved how you said earlier on, people don't remember, I think you said, people don't remember what you did or something, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
I didn't say that, but I've heard that, and that is true. I said, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care.
Okay, got it. I think it was Maya Angelou that said something around that first one. Like they're not going to forget how you made them feel.
Right.
But you're right. People don't care unless they know first that you care.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so you really see people for who they are, it sounds like, and you get to know the authentic person. You put some fun and personality into it because that's what life is about. You need a little bit of fun. Business doesn't have to be so stoic and where we can't be just human and let our hair down a little bit and have some fun.
Absolutely.
And that's what bonds the people. So authentic leadership, I love the fact when I see this come to life, your dignity in action, just making it happen, bringing your fun into it is, and usually fun country people are misunderstood because people interpret them as irresponsible. They interpret, because I'm one, they've interpreted us as, too goofy to be able to be serious. You're going to really be serious about this? You're really going to be able to make this work? Yeah. But the answer is yes. If you believe you can, then yes. If you believe you can't, you're right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Green light, think it. It'll come.
Yeah. So as we wrap up here, what advice to maybe other companies, even similar to yours, to get started? Like, how do you get a culture program moving? How do you even get started? Or do you just do something?
Well, first, I think it comes back to the leader. The leader's got to believe it. Yep. The leader's got to be willing to invest in it, and really, and then execute on it. But if they're not, they need to get people around them that can, and they've got to support that effort. And it takes time, and we've had people that have left to go other places, and we talk about a ripple effect. So what we're trying to do is build people up and let that let them go and spread that to their own communities, to their home. If they're happy at work, they're going to go home and hopefully be happy with their family, be happy in their community, and do things. And so when we've had people that have left, they're now trying to do that, bring what they learned at SureDry to their new places where they've grown. They've got a promotion to go do something else. They're going to go run a division or a company, and they're doing that. And I keep in contact with these people, and they're like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of
now
work.
You get it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. But they're doing it, and it takes time, and the big thing is have the grit to stay with it.
Yeah. Grit is the pursuit of a long-term goal, and that's clearly what you're all about. Incredible growth.
Yeah. I was watching a TED Talk. Angela Duckworth was a speaker on this TED Talk, and she talked about the biggest defining thing of success isn't socioeconomic. It's not where you came from, your education, anything like that. She looked at a group of Navy SEALs. She looked at kids in the spelling bee, and determined from that the biggest driver of success is having grit. And she defines that as fortitude and stick-to-itness towards a meaningful goal.
Yeah.
And that's.
You can persevere through the moment, but grit is that long-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, just think about, I love the attitude of if we do good will come out of it. Like, yes, people will leave. And what a great compliment that they're trying to take what you taught them and it's, help another industry grow, right?
Yep.
Well, Jamie, this has been awesome having you as a guest on our show. So for folks who want, happy employees working on your house, which is kind of a big investment for you, how would they find you?
Yeah, SureDryBasements.com is our website. Otherwise, our phone number is 920-SureDry or 715-SureDry.
Okay, and your geographic area that you serve is?
So from northeast Wisconsin, north central Wisconsin, so West Bend is kind of our southern border, all the way out through Beaver Dam, Wisconsin Rapids, up into the Northwoods, Rhinelander, Three Lakes, Eagle River, Menominee, Marinette, and Door County, Sheboygan, Manitowoc.
Well, there you go. So that's Jamie with SureDry. I'm Joe Kiedinger. This has been another Dignity Dialogue, and we'll see you next time. See you, everyone.
This has been the Dignity Dialogue with Joe Kiedinger. Talk at you later.